afternoon, good afternoon. What an interesting day. Nothing's ever boring anymore in America, is it? I'll tell you what, one thing I'd like to say before we get into this about Joe Scarborough, the idiot news guys, and the whole shebang about this COVID-19 and the so-called experts in our government and what have you. You know, every day since, the Trump thing started 5 years ago, I get so many requests on my phone now, people asking for money. Every kind of issue now with every congressman, Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter. They're out texting people and ranting and raving and emailing people and calling people asking for money. This is unprecedented. It never happened before. We already paid these people in their elected position to do the job that they claim they're supposed to be doing, but they need so much more money to do it. The question is, where's all this money going? Really, where's all this money going? What are they doing with this money? Donald Trump, over his 4-year period, literally took in billions of dollars from donations on every issue. They run these issues. We're trying to stop Nancy. We're trying to stop Chuck Schumer. We're trying to stop this. We're trying to stop that. We need money for this. We need money for that. But yet all this money keeps going and nothing changes. Listen, people, stop sending these freaking crooks money, because that's what they are. Because eventually, you know what it's going to come down to? We, the American people. We're going to have to put a stop to this because this government is way, way out of control. But let's get to what we're talking about right now. We're going to take a look at what we got going on here. I got to find and get it lined up here real quick. So here we go. Okay. So we're going to take a look here. We got this here, and I want to play this video. This is, I'm sure everybody remembers Joe Scarborough, right? This guy. This is what he had to say. Let's listen to this video real quick, because, wow.
Not political. It's not political.
It's not political. It's science.
Here we are with over 500,000 people dead, and we heard from Dr. Birx this weekend talking about how after the first 100,000, if they had done a better job, if Donald Trump had not been so resistant, they would have been able to save so many lives. And here we are, Willie. I'm now hearing lunatics, and I call them lunatics, that are now, of course, still pushing back on the mask. But now we're saying that if we somehow have something that identifies us as having a vaccine, that we're like part of Satan or the mark of the devil, the idiocy, our Nazi Germany, like the idiocy is just beyond us. They're acting recklessly and irresponsibly. They're being stupid. They're following conspiracy theories. They're following a failed a game show host or a reality TV host. And they don't understand, I guess, because maybe they're such morons they can't understand this. If I want to go to a baseball game with my son, who has a history of upper respiratory issues,
we're just going to let him finish.
I don't want a bunch of idiots sitting anywhere near us in Fenway or in a Little League baseball park that haven't taken the vaccine. Now, if they don't want to take the vaccine and they want to die, that's their right as Americans. They don't have to take the vaccine and they can die. Or they can get really sick. They can live in ignorance and stupidity. They have that right, even though they're hurting other people. But please, 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 don't tell me that we can't do something so smart people who actually follow science, who actually want to take care of their children, who actually want to save their neighbors' lives, who actually want to make sure everybody around them is safe. Like, they can't tell us what to do. And the government, our sports teams, our organizations, our concert promoters, damn well better put together something where you can show your vaccine receipt, or you can have something on a ticket stub that shows it. Like this anti-science idiocy, you know what? Let them do that under a rock or in their caves. But you know what? The time to try to reason with these people has long passed.
Yeah, I mean.
So, Joe, listen to this rant by this idiot. This guy is an idiot. So stupid, it's on ridiculous. You remember back when Joe Biden said he wished he could take Donald Trump behind the high school and punch him in the face? I really would like to take this guy behind the high school and punch the shit out of his face, really. Because you're an idiot, Joe Scarborough. Nothing but, you know what, too, I know about you. I don't like you. You know why I don't like you? You were a flip-flop all along your whole life. You did nothing but ever dance along to go and suck up to whatever gave you the opportunity. You're a self-serving, no good, disgraceful American, worthless piece of you-know-what. I'll tell you that. You know, you went from a Republican to an independent. Now you're a Democrat. You'll swing up and suck up to anything that's on your agenda for whatever suits your own personal agenda to your own benefit. You're a disgraceful, inhumane American. I'll tell you, you're a piece of you-know-what. You know, you're a punk. You're a punk, you hear me? But let me show how stupid you are, Joe. What he's talking about was the thing I put on my Facebook the other day about with the CDC chief warns U.S. heads for impending doom as COVID cases rise again. Right now, I'm scared. The woman who's been in for 2 months. This is a long backcast lady. This lady's now part of the Biden administration. And my little thing I put on my Facebook page, you can see where I give the links and the information that shows the ties to her and little Fushi on how she was like a little intern back in the time he was doing his AIDS research. You know, all these people who are claimed to be experts are nothing but really high-paid welfare, paper-brain idiots that couldn't make it in the professional world. They couldn't actually get a real job in the professional practice or open their own practice. So their only alternative, like most of our elected worthless scumbag attorneys that are in our government, is to go in and get elected positions or work for the government to hand out the free money where they rip us, the taxpayers, off. And now it's getting to a point where the government is nothing but like a goddamn sitcom for some kind of drama show, constantly impeding, infringing, and imposing on the American people's lives to a point right now. It's at a point, really, I'm telling you, you know, by the end of this, we'll get to where it's concluding to. But for right now, let's go into this, take a look. Hey, Scarborough, here's what I want to know. Mom surprised by positive COVID test months after getting vaccine. Maybe Joe Scarborough, the idiot, is not aware that right now many of the people taking the vaccine, of which as we progress you're going to see, many of them, the vaccine's not a vaccine. It's bullshit is what it is. It's not a vaccine. Because the vaccine vaccinates you, stops you from being vulnerable, makes you immune to whatever it is it's supposed to vaccinate you from, as far as I know. I mean, in my common sense reasonability, of which as we go forward, I'm going to conclude this by the facts and the medical definitions of things and such, that a vaccine is supposed to make you immune to whatever it is you're being vaccinated. But that's not happening with COVID. This was a rush process over a scamdemic, which by the end of this, you're going to see it's a scamdemic. And I don't want to hear about it from the experts, because you know what? It's funny right now that anyone who's an expert in infectious disease or a doctor that comes forward and ridicules this government, this media, or these talking heads of the government who claim to be medical experts, all of a sudden, their paper brain doesn't matter and they're a quack. But all the people who agree with them, well, they're good people, right? Yeah, right. Cut me a break and cry me a river with your bullshit, because that's what it is. But right here, the fact check, scientists do not yet know whether COVID-19 vaccines reduce transmission of the virus. What do you know about that, Joe? So that means that while you're at your little safe baseball game with your little hard-breathing son, right? And you're there with all your vaccinated people, guess what, you stupid idiot? You're still not safe. Because one, the vaccine doesn't really prevent people from getting COVID, and the vaccine doesn't prevent it from spreading. So really, it doesn't matter if you have it or you don't. If it's there and it's contaminable, it's going to be effective on anybody who's there. That's just the way it works. You see, the vaccine's not doing nothing, Mr. Stupid Joe Scarborough. You so-called so smart you want to appear on TV, you goddamn failed attorney, piece of crap, flip-flopping, no good punk. That's what you are, punk. Hey, Joe, why don't you see me behind the high school like Joe Biden said? Really, I would love to bitch slap you, you stupid jerk. Really, that's what you are, a jerk. Real stupid jerk. Okay, but here, let's look at this right here. So here you go. This is where Joe Scarborough, the so-called so smart guy who likes to talk sense gruff on TV. Let's take a look and see right here. You can still develop COVID-19 after getting a vaccine. What do you know? What do you know, Joe? What do you know, Joe, you stupid idiot? What do you know? All the people, so if everybody there with their little cards, you little Nazi, that's what you are, Nazi. You want to have people show papers, mandated so they can go into places and public places, so you and your little sick, your hard-breathing kid can go and feel safe, and your little stupid mind, where in your world, you talk about people living in caves and under a rock. In your delusional world of Oz, the little piece of paper that says you're vaccinated, in your little stupid mind, you think it's going to save you, when all the evidence of science, statistics, and research and study right now is making it clear, you stupid idiot, Joe Scarborough, that no, that's not true, you idiot. You're the idiot, Joe. You're the idiot, because you're not doing the due diligence on the fact-checking. You're not doing the due diligence on the research coming out from other nations and around the world on these viruses. You're not really indulging in it. You're just on TV doing what you normally do and what you've been doing your whole life. You're nothing but a flip-flop, ranting, no-good jerk-off. That's what you are. You're a jerk-off, Joe. You need to be bitch-slapped back into reality, Joe. Really, seriously. And I'll tell you what, you raised this issue about with Donald Trump. And you talk about Donald Trump being like a failed media guy and a failed, Donald Trump is a successful real estate investor. His father was a successful real estate investor. They were an immigrant family who came here and became successful and really pursued the American dream. Okay, his grandfather was the one who started the pursuit of that American dream, passed it off to his son passed it off to Donald Trump. They're the example of the American dream, and Donald Trump is one of the greatest examples of the success of the American dream today. He's actually done something real in his life besides you, like you, Joe Scarborough, who's a little suck-up your whole life. Nothing but a flip-flop suck-up who will suck up to anybody who gives them what you want, you little self-serving, no-good prick. That's what you are. But here, let's keep going. Look at this here, Joe. This was a Virginia man suffers rare severe reaction to COVID-19 vaccines, which this has been going on around the world. And they're trying like crazy. Like people like Joe Scarborough, the so-called so concerned for the people. You don't even tell the people the truth. You're nothing but a lying talking head. Nothing but a complicit piece of shit with everybody else in this whole scamdemic. I'll tell you that right now. Look what this guy's going through right here. And then they got other people. It's attacking their nervous system. Other people, it's really affecting them. And some people, it's actually killing. Okay? And they're not telling us about this on the news. You won't hear Joe Scarborough and all these talking heads talk about that because no, these people are trying to put us into the land of Oz where they live, in this delusional utopia world where all the government and all the media, what they say is reality, and we're supposed to just buy the bullshit as they spew it out to us. You know, you people are a bunch of sick son of a bitches. And by the end of this, when you realize what the outcome is coming to it, let me tell you something. When it gets to the outcome at the end conclusion of this, when we find this, boy, am I going to be a happy bastard. Because I'll tell you what, Joe Scarborough, I'll get to bitch slap you in that point. Believe me, and you'll be one on the list that I'll be looking for should it get to the point of what the conclusion of all this comes to. But let's go on here. Let's take a look here. Let's take a listen to this guy here real quick. And then take a look, like I want to show you right here. Over 12,000 people test positive after taking Pfizer's vaccine. What do you know about that, you intelligent genius, Joe Scarborough? Huh? I bet you they all had their card. Maybe they didn't show their card to the vaccine. What do you think? They didn't show it to the virus. It's a pretty smart virus. You know how smart this virus is? It's so smart that, check this out, it knows how to follow rules. And that is, if people walk around in public with a mask on, it don't bother them. It won't bother them. And then get this, though. Get this, Joe Scarborough. They can go to a restaurant, people, right? As long as they wear a mask going into the restaurant. Wear the mask walking to the table. When they get to the table, they can take the mask off. And you know what? The virus goes outside. It won't stay in the restaurant, Joe. It won't. This is how smart that virus is. It won't stay in the restaurant. You know that, Joe? It will leave the restaurant, and people in the restaurant, they're all okay. They can sit in there without the mask and eat. Isn't that something? It's like incredible. And you idiots buy this stupidity like a goddamn like a blue light special at Kmart. You freaking idiots. Okay, but here you go. 12,000 people test positive after taking Pfizer vaccine. Let's just take a listen to what this guy, a little bit of what he says here.
Do you know what happened?
I gotta hit the ad like crazy, right?
Into a cabin.
And since we're discussing.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sam Robbins.
It's going to keep me going on the ads here, but anyway, I had the list there. We'll go listen to this guy here. Okay, this is just to get to the point, Joe. In case you're not aware, Do you know that 96% of the people, because you're talking about like how we have the thing that you're mentioning about here with the CDC chief who warns headed for impending doom. Oh, impending doom! Oh, and the COVID cases rise again. Right now, I'm so scared. The theatrics with you people are ridiculous. That's about what it is. As stupid as I look right now is how you all look on the freaking TV and the news. Because you know what? We understand that you can pitch this off to the majority of the really idiots in this country who follow you fools, okay, and who really have been dumbed down by the education system and the indoctrination of your disgraceful, no good, treasonous scumbag government we got. And then, those people buy into it with you. Oh, you're just trying to cause the panic, ain't you, Joe? Just like all the government's trying to cause the panic, right? People will do anything to live in their fear for their life, right? Like wars and things like that. It's a psychology play is what it all is with you people. But that's what it all is, really. So when we look here, let's take a listen to this guy here.
Probably higher, but that is not a reason to think that probably higher. 96% fatality rate 1,000. The number of deaths was 137,000, which makes the case fatality rate about 3.9%. So, based on confirmed cases, about 96% of people do survive. In fact, the real number is probably higher.
So 96%, 97%, somewhere in a range of like actual reality of the numbers I checked and done the statistics on the average, and comes out to 2.1%. My average layman common idiocy of who I am is according to Joe Scarborough. I'm just a freaking idiot. But, I think I have common reasonable sense. I know how to do basic math to figure out percentages. And on the percentages, I take it from the experts. So, and we got some of those experts we can go forward with. Look like right here. Now, the fatalities really in the COVID-19 cases on a comparison going back to July 2020 in New York City shows a fatality rate of just 1%. 99% survival, 1%. Out of this, hospitalization was 3%, reported cases were 220,000, systematic cases were 1.1 million, estimated infections 1.6 million, New York City residents 8 million. So 1% fatalities. That's it, 1%. Now what is my point on this? My point is getting to right here. The burden estimated for 2020-11, the influenza season, right? That's the flu. That's the flu, and I know nobody likes it. When it's funny right now. I usually like to, in spare time when I got nothing to do and I'm online, I go to like what's called like the medical almanac, the farmer's almanac. I like to do a lot of research, history, things like that. I'm just a nerd. And you know what? It used to be so easy to find these, but now the CDC and the government is trying to hide all past records, making it very hard to find these things. They're burying it. You got to really dig for it. But anyway, here's a 2011, 2012 influenzas, and then we're going to go forward and look at some of the statistics on this right here. Pneumonia influenza related mortalities. We're going to take a look right here. So on this one here, the epidemic threshold on this right here, believe it or not, is 7.9%. So it's like almost double that of what COVID is. The flu fatality rates on average, or what though on the truth. I mean, they're hiding this now. They're like this last year and this year. They're trying to say, well, no. When you compare the flu to COVID, the flu's way lower. But you know what? Everybody's wondering, like, where is the flu, right? We hear this now from medical experts, drug pharmacies, or whatever. They didn't even order any flu vaccination or shots because you know what? It was like COVID scared the flu away. Nobody was getting the flu. And did you know, too, that a lot of the tests, the false positives, were because they were false positive, that where the flu caused them to test positive for COVID. Oh, isn't that just something, Joe? Joe, you're a real freaking genius. I would have thought you'd come on and tell people about all these things, and how the false positives for the majority were actually cases of the flu. And they were being treated for COVID. And then, too, how many of these cases now, when you look at the statistics on a reality basis of the true percentages of what the reports are coming in and saying, from like independent reports and that of other nations that aren't complicit in the corruption, treason, and disgusting goddamn corruption and greed in this country with the media and the government. These independents, like when you look at like Switzerland and Sweden and some small little independent pharmaceutical nations and their medical boards and what they're doing in actual real research, where there's no driving force for them to lie about it or inflate things or whatever. They're just giving real. And when you compare these things to facts of what the UN is being forced to look at these realities, it's coming to light that, you know what? Yeah, not as bad as what everybody's trying to make it out to be. Like I said in my previous comments and on my Facebook page, there's something very deviant and evil underlying this COVID-19 in the United States of America with the media and that. And I'll tell you what it is. It's greed. You know, we'll see as we go forward, but it's total greed, corruption, and disgraceful, inhumane people who, boy, I'll tell you, at the end of this, in the conclusion where they say this is going, I so much hope it does, because those people deserve what's coming. Really, they do. When we look here, infectious fatality rate, CDC Atlanta's best estimates, 0.04 overall, assumptions infectious. This right here was on COVID-19. Is what, you know, I'm just going by some of the statistics that are coming out. Death final right here was a report where it was done on abstract here, and I had something I want to talk about here. Results in 2012, total was 2,543,000 deaths from the flu. Wow, that's like big numbers, you know, really big numbers. Very comparable to COVID-19. But yet, you know, we didn't shut the nation down, and we got a vaccine too. We have a vaccine for the flu, but obviously, you know, it's not doing too good. And the funny thing, though, it has done good in a sense, in a way. We have seen effects to where it has decreased the effects from the influenza, flu, and other diseases and what have you. And as we go forward, we're going to see that too. You see here, this is what I'm talking about. Now, they're trying to claim that, you know, deaths are on the rise and the COVID-19 is on the rise and it's killing people. One, all the deaths that were priorly being reported for the flu haven't been being reported for the flu in the last 2 years. All those deaths have gone to COVID-19. You know, nobody's died from the flu because the flu's disappeared. Nobody's had the flu. You know, if you search right now online, you see a lot of people's looking for the flu. It's like, really, like the Democrats and the media and COVID-19. COVID itself, like the virus, it scared the flu away. It just went away. It's gone. It's like nobody's got the flu. It's just amazing. And then when they realize, oh my God, we're going to get busted because, you know, we can't just have this virus go away and start nailing it. We have to do so. So now they're putting up signs way late in the season, like, come get your flu shot. Yeah, trying to make it so disgraceful. It's so self-evident, the disgrace in this country, what's going on. But this right here is the statistics from 1950 to date of the death rate, on the annual death rate in the United States of America, historically, right? And we look right here, the deaths per 1,000 people, right here, we have 9.5 back in 1950, and today it's down. It's actually down. And as you can see, since the 1950s, the death rate of American in the United States have been declining. And it hit a low here in like 2008 is where it was at its low point. But if you look here down on the bottom in the historical annual percentage change rate, you realize not too much of a big difference. Not really too much of a big difference. And what you really realize is this right here. It's nowhere, like it's been worse in the past. It's been way worse in the past. And when you look right, like in certain areas where you had these spikes, like right here, 1986 area, that was when the Democrats enacted the gun legislative laws and criminals went on a rampage shooting people. That was the highest percentage in 1986, an increase in deaths in America, were due to criminal handgun killings because they regulated handguns on law-abiding citizens who didn't have them, which increased the murder of law-abiding citizens by criminals with handguns because they had no way to defend themselves because this idiot, stupid, worthless, no-good, disgraceful government infringed the Second Amendment and took those innocent people's right away to keep and bear arms and defend themselves in a lot of states, and they wound up getting killed by the Democratic-controlled criminal societies that these Democrats manufacture. But anyway, we'll go forward here and we'll look. Death in the United States statistics and facts is what I'm interested in about. Approximately 2.84 million people in the United States lost their lives in 2018. Okay, now when we go forward and we take a look and we see, okay, well, what is COVID doing? Again, look at this, 1950s to date. You know, we realize, like here, you see right here, I'm talking 1989, we're back to rates about 1989. So, I mean, these are not like unheard of rates. And we did have a big decline from going from 1989, 1990 to 2010. So we had that 20-year decline in it. And, you know, it's amazing, you know, we had this, and most of this was due to some vaccinations of these were due to large drops because, you know, the influenza used to kill a lot more people. Actually, before the vaccine came out for influenza, the flu, it was killing way more people than COVID-19. Way, way more people. But they don't want you to know about that. They don't want you to look into those statistics and realize that. And like I say, though, the thing I'm not getting, Joe, is, when we're looking at the facts of that COVID-19 98% survival rate, we're realizing that 1% fatality rate is on the average 1.4 top, and you realize that there really is no, when you look at influenza and you look at this, pneumonia and influenza and COVID-19, you put them on a chart together. Influenza and pneumonia to combine together before the vaccine was twice the numbers of COVID-19. And now, we really have to wait and see what comes out to be the false positives of COVID-19 deaths that were actually influenza and pneumonia deaths. And we'll find out that the COVID-19 deaths will be greatly even further reduced to probably be less than 1% fatality average once we remove all the actual influenza. And mind you, too, the death rates to the age percentages here, this is amazing right here. So this was something I wanted to touch on right here, where it talks about like the
mortality rate. They said that the chance of dying if you got the virus was 1.3% if you're over 65, 0.2% if you were 50 to 64, and 0.05% if you're under 50.
Did you hear that, Joe? Did you hear that, Genius Joe? This is the percentage of the fatality rate for you if you have COVID-19. So I'm going to play that again.
0.2%. This scenario was an overall 0.4 infection mortality rate.
So 0.4 infectious fatality rate for COVID-19.
They said that the chance of dying if you got the virus was 1.3% if you're over 65.
So if you're over 65, 1.3% chance you could have a fatality.
0.2% if you were 50 to 64.
0.2% if you're below like 64.
And 0.05% if you're under 50.
So not even 1/2 of a 1% chance to die if you're under 50. Really, and this is like a pandemic. This is, oh my God, the world is ending. Oh, I'm in fear. Oh my God. We got this woman here, the new panic princess right here. The CDC chief warns U.S. headed for impending doom. And I'm scared. Cases are on the rise. I mean, it's so ridiculous, these people with the drama. Anyway, so we're going to keep going forward. We're going to take a look at some more statistics here, because I think it's important we come to the reality. Do you know right now, one of the highest causes for the increase in death in the last 18 months has been suicide and murder in the Democratic-controlled districts? Murder. The murder rates are up because of the frustration, the hostility from the confinements of COVID-19 and the depression. Suicides are up, and murders in hostile environments like Democratic-controlled cities and ghettos, murder rates up and suicides are up drastically. And right now, with the impacts economically on society due to this disgusting, no good, worthless, disgraceful, friggin' treasonous government and the complicit media and idiots like Joe Scarborough, right now, the impact on the economy and what have you, the loss of jobs or whatever, is as well weighing very heavy in the suicide increase of suicides, and these things are greatly increasing the death toll in America right now for the annual death rates, because the government is the cause of it. The government and the media, with what they're doing, they're actually the cause. People like Joe Scarborough and this lady right here, this new chief, these people are so disgraceful, unprofessional, disgusting, self-serving, treasonous, no-good scumbags with what they're doing, on the impeding fear they're imposing upon the ignorant society that these people have dumbed down across this country in the last 30 years with this disgraceful education system, and right out clear abuse by government and media complicity is just off the charts right now. Well, what we're seeing is unprecedented in this country. I'm 55 years old. I've never seen anything like this. As a matter of fact, I can tell you, when I was a kid, the way people were, this stuff would have been going on, say, 35 years ago, we'd already be in civil war. The people would have rose up and then took these people out. They would have been taken out back 35 years ago. American people back then were true-born Americans, and you had a big population of a warrior system of that of the Vietnam veterans, and they wouldn't have been having it because they didn't put their goddamn life on the line fighting to keep this nation free from communism for these scumbag, treasonous bastards who are running our government right now to do the disgrace they're doing to this nation right now, and posing the position of threat that they're putting on our posterity and us, the American people, right now, in the breach of our peace and tranquility. Bunch of disgraceful, no good, worthless, treasonous scumbags is what they all are. But anyway, this is where we're going. We're looking here. I got here, stress across the demographics. These are some studies that have been being done by the state of our nation, and I've been reading up on. These are recent polls that are coming in on studies and research done on this, because I was curious about this, because I know I'm seeing it myself in my travels day to day and talking with people in like Circle K, in the stores, Wawa, whatever, getting coffee. I just have a tendency, I'm that kind of person. I see a group of people and nobody's talking, and I'll say, hey, good morning everybody, and how's everybody doing, how you feel? And we get a little conversation going and get a feedback from society about what people are thinking, and I can see it's pretty, a lot of people are being greatly affected. A lot of people are getting really angry and pissed off. I'll tell you, that's one thing I can tell you right now. I've never seen such an angry state in this country of people so angry and pissed off. And, it's just disgraceful. People are fed up with the cops. People are fed up with the government. And the cops, too. When we see what's going on, a lot of people, they back the blue, and I get that. And I have a lot of people I know in the 3-county area I cover. I know a lot of LEO, law enforcement officers, and I know good older school state police, older school sheriffs, older school cops, and the sad thing about it is, most of the sheriffs I know that were probably be ethical, moral, constitutional officers, they left. They're doing they just couldn't deal with the corruption anymore. They couldn't deal with the overreach. They couldn't deal with the quotas. They couldn't deal with the tyranny, and they said it themselves. And I've seen this in the course over the last couple of years. Many good sheriffs leaving the sheriff's departments in Pasco, Pinellas, and Hernando County because they don't want to deal with the tyranny that they're seeing. They just won't go and violate Americans' rights. And as I see, you remember back, there was that officer, he made that video where he said he would not, and then, 3 days later he got fired because he said he wouldn't violate constitutional rights of a citizen, that even if ordered by a higher command, and then they fired him. And right now, one of the big concerns we got to be worried about is, right now they're vetting in our military, and they're early discharging people from our military, all branches, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines. Anybody who is being vetted right now and being determined to be a conservative, Republican, kind of Christian-minded person can get early release from the military. The question is, who's going to be replacing these? Maybe these immigrants coming in, maybe these Muslims, because you know what? If they put them in our military and you have a conflict like what's going on right now, because pretty much the Democrats are very aware that the majority, I know, on this, like January 6th, they're talking about the capital cities in Washington. They're not telling you that every state capital across the country, as well, the state militias and patriot groups were taking that of the state capitals in every state across the country as well. Because the American people are fed up with this corrupt, no good, treasonous scumbag government of ours, and all these corrupt, self-serving, no good, treasonous, ungrateful son of a bitches who are in this government that really, they deserve old school treatment of what was done in the old days with these kind of people. Really, and it's coming. Eventually, it's coming. Believe me, they're going to get theirs. It can't come fast enough. I can tell you that right now. But anyway, this report shows that depression is on the rise. Suicide is a major factor right now in the 2019, 2020, 2021 projected national death rates are on a major rise. Murders as well is on a major rise. Demographics of murders are happening mostly in Democratic-controlled cities and districts, and where the crime rates and the education is very low. Crime rates are very high. Poverty is very high. Broken families are very high. Drug use and abuse and alcoholism and domestic violence is very high. Those areas are increasing dramatically. And right now, we're seeing, as we seen last couple of weeks ago, we had the Muslim go and kill 10 people. We got the Muslims probably rising again. There's a lot you're not hearing about with the Muslims again uprising out in Dearborn and other states where they have populations, upstate New York and stuff again. They're getting emboldened again and starting their movements again too for the Sharia and Islamic pushing for Islamic cultural and values here in America again. But nobody's talking about that because, as you can see, like with Joe Scarborough, the so-called genius idiot right here, this disgraceful, no good piece of shit, wannabe American who really, what a loser this guy is. I'll tell you what. Hey, Joe, I hope you see this video. You're a freaking loser. You hear me? You're a loser. I would love to meet you face to face and bitch slap you. Like Joe Biden says, you're the kind of guy I'd like to take out behind the school. I wish you would have the balls to call me up on that, really. I wish you would. You freaking no good, worthless, disgraceful coward ass. You're a piece of shit, Joe. That's what you are. You're really, people like you really get under my skin. You know, and but here we are right here. The real deal of what's going on right now is what we're looking at with this, but we're going to step off. What's it really about? What's it really about? I'll tell you what it's about. Power, control, hiding the corruption. This government for the last 35, 40 years has been growing so corrupt, and I know I'm 55 years old, I've been watching it, and it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. I want to know, what do you American people right now, you know, you see what's going on right now. You got like, I can't believe, unprecedented, first time in American history ever, we have satanic sneakers being sold to our children, our American posterity. Yeah, satanic sneakers. This is the trend. This is where we're at. This is the new low that America, of the United States of America, has gone. Let me tell you something. I'm an American. I'm a proud goddamn American. And you people behind us in the Democratic Party with all your bullshit, your disgusting perversion with all your homosexuality and your goddamn transgenders, you people are not American. You are the people who fit those goddamn satanic shoes. You fit them very well. And I'll tell you what, the true God-fearing warriors of America, we need to get together. We need to unite. We need to get to our feet quick, and we need to start putting an end to this bullshit, because this is our country, and we have an obligation. We have an obligation to our posterity to sustain, maintain, and secure for our posterity this nation as it was founded. And we are failing at that right now. And I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people right now, they're concerned about with the authority and this, that, and everything about the National Guard. Let me tell you, the National Guard's with the Patriot Americans and the militias. The Army's with, the military's with. And those who aren't, they don't have authority. They're in contempt of the very consentment of that authority, the Constitution. We the people is the first three words of that Constitution. We're the ones who give the consent for all government branches and all authority handed out to all LEO. We the people. And when these people are overreaching it and overstepping it, and right now this corrupt, treasonous, no good scumbag body of a government, both Democrat and Republican, complicit in the corruption of it, they are trying to use that of American assets, military and policing assets, against that of the American people themselves. This is disgraceful and unprecedented in the history of this nation. It is just, you know, when the last time something like this happened? 1861. That was the Civil War. You know who caused that Civil War? The very same people who's going to cause the second Civil War. The goddamn Democrats. No good, worthless, treasonous traitors. That's all they've ever been in this country, those Democrats. Worthless, treasonous, scumbag fucking traitors. And you know what? That's what they are. But here, when we look, hospital health systems faces unprecedented financial pressure due to COVID-19. Now, this article right here is complicit with other articles I've been reading. You know, when they did the shutdown, I think it was intentional, because this was how the government, you see, prior to the shutdown, prior to COVID, the government could not get the full medical sector. Like we had the frontline doctors coming forward. They were being honest about it, telling people the truth. Give me a pause here. I need a drink. I work outside. It's been getting warm. I need to hydrate, and I'm getting excited with this. But anyway, right, in order to get control, when they did the shutdown, and they ordered to stay at home and all, and there was canceling. Think about this across the country. Tens of thousands of surgeries were canceled. Hospitals lost hundreds of millions of dollars, and they were into the struggles because it was dragged on for weeks and months. And, you know, and then people just weren't going to the doctors. They weren't going out. And amazingly, a lot of the, you know, the prescription drugs, everybody was getting hit by this. And in the estimates in the end of it, outside of like right now, the friggin' $1.29 trillion in debt we're going to be with this disgusting, disgraceful, no good, treasonous, scumbag Democratic administration bailout, they call it. What a joke. And this is where it's all going. You see, it's a bribe. The government knows what it's done. It knows what it's been doing. It knows its whole scamdemic thing that's going on here. And it realizes through the process, when they had the frontline doctors coming forward telling the truth, they had to shut them down. And what they did was like a torture on the medical sector, telling them, you better not blow our cover. You better not blow our cover, because they kept it going. You see, they kept the shutdown going. They kept the suspension of people going for surgeries and the doctors, and they started crushing that professional sector and hitting them in the purse. You see, they got them in the purse now. They got them under their fingers, because now who's got that purse? The government. That 1 point, right? When we look and we say, where's the money? Right here, $1.9 trillion. Nancy Pelosi, right there, Democrats. Now they got all these doctors like, you shut your goddamn mouth if you want your cut. You see, this stimulant isn't to bail out the American people. We're already bailed out. Where do you think they're taking the money? Where do you think they're getting the money for this? It's from the people, okay? It's from the people. And who are they giving this money to? They're giving it, most of the people getting this money is under the Democratic administration's communities. These people don't work to begin with. You know how much of this money is going to welfare recipients and that of like just non-work people who never worked or on disability, this, that, and everything else. People who are deadbeats, who have been doing nothing but rioting, looting, and goddamn protesting for the Democrats. They're all getting checks. Okay? But that's just a small percentage of it. Because when we look and we move forward and we start to really break it down, look at this jerk, Joe Scarborough. You know, I wonder if he's done any research in all, and he knows. He's a self-serving, no-good scumbag. Wasteful, poorly targeted critics rip stimulus bill price tag contents, right? If you do your research on it, you're going to find out that a small percentage of this big bailout, $1.9 trillion, is actually going toward the people. The rest of this money is going to be bailing out all the hospital sectors as long as they keep their mouths shut and they keep along with the agenda of pushing the COVID thing. And you notice how, 2 years ago, not so many were on board. You didn't hear much from the doctors and the hospitals. But now they're coming out of the woodwork because you know what? Just like, and then a lot of them, they were complicit in the corruption, which we've seen right here in Florida, my state. Ron DeSantis clamped down really, really quick on the doctors and let them know, if you're caught in corruption, falsifying claims of COVID-19 or deaths of COVID-19, he made it pretty clear to them, you're not going to face the medical board, you're going to face the state attorney and be prosecuted and criminally charged and arrested. All of a sudden, we had all these false positives come out of nowhere. What's disgusting to man is why he dropped all the regulations. He realized pretty clear it was a scamdemic. And then, like I say, when you look at the truth of things and the death tolls and the rates of that relating to influenza and the flu and pneumonia, you realize that, you know what? This is no different than pneumonia or the flu. Matter of fact, without a vaccine, the flu is worse than this, and we didn't go through this kind of idiocy. But why are they doing it? They're doing it because it's all a distraction. Donald Trump was exposing the corruption. Donald Trump, was showing that what you could really do if you really had the common sense, reasonable common sense and professionalism as a businessman, and you actually put rational practices to the United States and its function and operations in dealing not only with terrorists and foreign nations and locally with taxes and stimulus for that of businesses, how you could turn this nation around. And they realized he was making an ass of these people. Though you got the idiot Joe Scarborough who wants to mock Donald Trump, believe me, Joe, you ain't nothing of a Donald Trump. You're nothing but a little suck-up, no-good, worthless little punk ass is what you are, Joe Scarborough. You are a self-serving, no-good punk ass. You're a little puppet. You do what you're told, you little ass kisser. Disgraceful, no good piece of shit is what you are, Joe Scarborough. I can't stand that guy, really. And but I'm telling you right now, when we look and we realize deaths in the United States statistics and facts, right? In all honesty and truth, when you look at influenza and you look at the flu and you look at pneumonia and you look at COVID-19, if you were to compare the numbers and you look at these statistics right here, this high death rates that go back in 1960s, and you see the higher rates in the 1980s and what have you, and you see it like there's this fluctuation. You see it going on here. And then you see we hit this low in 2008. A lot of this was due to the pneumonia, like better treatments for pneumonia, and as well the flu vaccination, which greatly reduced the fatalities from the flu, along with as well AIDS was another factor that was bringing it down. But the incline here as well, when you look at this incline that takes place from like right here, when you're looking at like 2012 forward, believe it or not, one of the biggest factors in that of what I'm trying to say to you, when you go forward and you look and you say to yourself, what is the cause on this? I'm trying to find where I was looking right here. The cause is mental health. Suicides are on a major rise. People just giving up. Because this government is just really robbed this nation of its liberty, its freedom, its morality, its pride, its dignity of the American people. They have stolen the identity of the posterity to the point that they're binary beings. They don't even know what the hell they are anymore. It's disgraceful what we, the American people, are allowing this very small body of entrusted, no good, corrupt, perverted, disgusting, goddamn treasonous perverts in this government and what they're doing is disgraceful, and it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with soon. We cannot allow this to keep going on, because every day we allow this to keep going on, hundreds of thousands of our own American posterity, the children of our nation, our future, are being affected by this to extremes that no longer can be tolerated. And if we keep allowing this to go on, we ourselves, how do we look ourselves in the goddamn mirror with what we, the American people, are allowing to go on? It's just disgraceful. At this point, like with me, I say to myself, what good is my business? What good is my life? What good is my assets? What good is all I have if I have to look at what's going on and take responsibility that I did nothing to stop it? There is no wealth in that. You know, I can't be self-serving. And I know millions of Americans feel the same as me right now. We're looking at our own responsibility to ourselves and our family, and we're saying, you know, we got to maintain that and hold up for them. But in truth, eventually, we're going to be affected. As you can see, these people are not going to stop until they get what they want. And right now, we're at a critical stage and where we have foreign interests looking at America as an asset, because they're saying, you know, if the American people aren't willing to rise up and fight against their own corrupt, disgusting, no good, treasonous, scumbag government, pretty much anybody coming in the back door is not going to be risen up against neither. And right now, I can tell you right now, chatter is out there in the world right now between China, Iran, you know, the Islamic States, and other totalitarian, even believe it or not, the United Kingdom, and with the monarchies of Canada, because I told you I don't never trust Canada. Canada is, you know, with the French Canadians, what have you. Canada too was mostly all the Tories is where they went, and they're the ones who established that government up there. We can't trust these people. They're not our freaking allies, though we keep wanting to tell ourselves they're allies to the Democrats. They're allies to that known and long declared enemy within, but they're not allies to the American people and our American vision and what we are established as in the United States of America. These people don't want that. They want what all the rest of the totalitarian monarchies, dictators, and totalitarian regimes want. They want to destroy America. And that's what they've been trying to do for all of our 244-year existence, is destroy us. And we can't let it happen. We can't. We owe it to our posterity. Just like hundreds of thousands of men and women before us sustained this nation for us, we have to sustain it for them. We just have to. And it's coming. I know it's coming. It's getting to that point. And then, like here, though, is where I want to get to. What is all this concluding to? The chatter, what's going on? Is America on the brink of civil conflict? President Biden calls for unity, but somewhere a current moment recalls run up to the Civil War. And it's going to happen. Because you know what? The Democrats, like today, the ignorancy of the posterity. I watch these Black Lives Matter Antifa kids, and they're ranting and raving. And they don't even realize, these kids don't even know. They don't know nothing about American history. They know nothing of the truth. They just are, you know, out of control kids being driven by just anger and frustration. And most of them, too, I'm going to tell you right now, when you look at these kids and you wonder, what are these kids? These are the Ritalin generation. These kids have, you know, the parents, when you realize where do we go wrong? The parent, mind you, right now, this is something that people got to realize in the effects of the history, because I watched this in the last 35 years. I've seen it. I can remember back in the 80s, the Ritalin pandemic. And the funny thing about it is people think Ritalin's something new. Let me tell you something. They tried to push the Ritalin back in the 1950s. The parents of the United States weren't having it. Neither were the schools back then. We had some kind of morality to us. We had some kind of dignity to us back then. But obviously by the 1980s, that dignity went out the window. And that was due to the government's planned out scheme to go ahead and break down the family unit, remove the father from the home, empower that of divorced women to be able to do like Democrats, sit back and be self-proclaimed elitists, while the man is targeted to be stripped of all and any ability to succeed in life and be made out to be a criminal through the processes of the abusive child support system and the abusive divorce courts and what have you, as they divide up societies into classes, with that of the legal class, the governing class, the legislative class, and then the working class of us, the American people, who finance all this hell that we're going through. You know, it's amazing. We're paying for the hell we're going through. It's just disgraceful, unbelievable, because they've manipulated the system in a way where you got no choice. You got no choice. We, the people, no longer have a say. These people have been planning this and doing it, and the Republicans in the administration as well are complicit. Donald Trump, and now in times, like I was so angry Donald Trump walked away and handed this over to them. You know, and I was thinking, like, on the basis of that, you know, there was an administration with him and a political establishment with him. But I got news for you. The majority of the Republican establishment as well is just as corrupt as the Democrats. There is no party loyalty of anything anymore to American principles and values. The only place that you're going to find American principles and values lying is with that large minority of about 14.7 million true Americans who have taken the time to know their history, know their values, know their principles. Those who still say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, those who are thankful and grateful to God for the great blessings of this country. Those who still have love for our Lord Jesus Christ and our nation and our founding principles and values of who we are as the American people. But we make up a small group of a fighting class of about 14.7 million and only about 57 million of a timid class that may become part of the fighting class when things break out and get to that point. But in all, we estimate somewhere probably around 7.9 million is going to actually be what takes the place, and then the other is going to take administrative roles of doing what has to be done and what have you. But we estimate about 14.7 million people is the size right now. And you know what? It's never been about the majority in America. It's always been about the minority. When you realize this nation was founded on that, of just 3% of the population fought the Revolutionary War and secured America and made it what it is this day. And it's only been a minority, that of the true men and women who have been fighting to secure and keep that freedom and liberty of this nation and that protect that Constitution for all of the 244 short years that this nation's been, has been that minority of that of our military men and women. And you know what? They're still on board. They know what they're doing. They know what they're fighting for. They know what they stand for, that Constitution, and they understand that the first 3 words of that Constitution is we the people, not we the government. But this government is slowly trying to seize assets of the American people and our military and vet the military people out and displace them with that of foreign interest immigrants coming in, that of Islamic Muslims and even that of the Mexicans. They're trying to displace them so that they can take, these people will attack, shoot, and murder Americans. Hell, that's what they're coming here for. Right now, we know, we just seen, like you just seen a couple weeks ago, a guy killed 10 Americans. Imagine tens of thousands of these Islamic Muslims going into our military with this government being able to use them as an asset against us, the American people. Got to wake up now and stop this before it gets too bad. Because I'm going to tell you what, right now, we should know, and we do know, it's on question, there would be least casualties on right now just removing this coward, no good, disgraceful government and dealing with this now before it gets to that point. Because another 10 years from now, America's going to be unrecognizable. We're already a banana republic, and that's an awakening we realize right now. Donald Trump did not walk away because, like I say, I might be very wrong, because I assumed the man cowered down and he walked away. But I got a feeling, you know what, because we all, who was going to do, you know, we were there, I get it, everybody was there, and everybody was positioned, everybody was willing, everybody still is. And why did he walk away? He walked away to live to fight another day, I believe. But you know what, it ain't going to be about Donald Trump, he's one man. Donald Trump went against the odds of everything. And he did what he did, I believe, in believing that somewhere in this system, there was some kind of morality, there was some kind of humanity, there was something of that of true Americans. But in honesty, there's very few true Americans left in this government anywhere. And only some of the new people that are in government, like that little Marguerite Green, she's a real American. She's not yet anything of like this swamp disgusting, and that's what we would need. And eventually, what we should have done, in my opinion, what should have been done, I think Donald Trump should have done like Abraham Lincoln did, called the militia up and had all the government removed across this country. And we should have then had a military tribunal appointed and established to take order over the governments of the states, and then appoint all the first-time electees to the position of government. To the first-time electees, somebody who was not a part, we just remove it, then we would have eliminated all corruption, all ties of corruption, broke all ties of corruption, worldwide and international as well. We would have broke their ties. And then we could have slowly, with military, shut down our borders, dealt with our own nation, did our own cleanup, and dealt with these people. And, you know, that's the deal, though. When you realize the hundreds of trillions of dollars that we're talking about, and the complicit corruption and greed of world nations and world governments involved in this, understand Donald Trump was no match for that. And I have to say, I may be greatly wrong about my judgment on Donald Trump as who he is, because I honestly believe now, from the things that have been coming back, and some of the things that are coming out of like anonymous sources within the military ranks and the branches, and that of CIA and FBI and things like that, that rumors are coming from anonymous sources. You know, whistleblowers, we can't say in their own defense, like the Democrats can't say who they are. But, you know, it's coming to light to realize that very high up in command is behind a lot of this as well. And the complicity, it goes into the heads of our military, who are these ass sitters that have really been at no threat of anything, but yet have been getting the higher ranks up from that of like people like Obama and what have you, and being placed because they're controllable puppets. And when Donald Trump realized that, in all honesty, and I'm gonna tell you, like we see with Ronald Reagan, you see with John F. Kennedy, he was the last one they assassinated. He tried to kill Reagan, and I honestly believe if Trump may have, because Mike Pence, look at him, his right-hand man, Vice President Mike Pence, was a goddamn treasonous, no-good scumbag rhino. I knew that from the get-go. But, these are the things we're facing right now. These are the things we're weighing. These are the things in the odds. And right now, it's just a matter of doing things right in the best way. But right here, we have this story, too, that comes out from Boston University. Historian answers, are we headed for another civil war? Yes, we are. I hope we are. Because you know what? If we're heading for another civil war, guess what? When it breaks out, I will be able to go and find Joe Scarborough and bitch slap him. Yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to go find him and bitch slap his no good coward ass attorney, fake ass attorney, go good coward ass, worthless loser ass kisser, no good self-serving scumbag treasonous prick. Look at you. You disgraceful piece of shit. All you do is go along with whatever goes along to serve your own personal interests, you no good scumbag. You used to be a Republican and you go independent, now you're a Democrat. You're an ass suck all the way around, ain't you? You disgraceful piece of shit. That's what you are. But anyway, U.S. is on the brink of civil war. These things are coming around. Now, the funny thing about this is, look at where this is from. Iran's leading international daily. Hey, Iran, the national terrorist nation of the world, themselves are like, U.S. is on the brink of civil war. They see it. But here's the scary, scary thing that all Americans, true Americans, I got to say to you. We got to wake up and realize something. This right here tells me more than Iran recognizing the truth that the American people are about to do what needs to be done. They're watching to see if we're gonna. And if we don't, they're going to see us as cowards. They're going to see us as vulnerable. And it ain't going to be long before Iran or China or somebody's going to try and make a move to take this country. Because they realize this government is nothing but a bunch of corrupt, disgusting, self-serving, treasonous, scumbag, lowlife, no good, perverted, disgusting, pedophile, satanic, freaking lowlife scum. These people that are, it's just disgraceful what this nation is turning into and what we, the American people, are allowing to go on in this country. It's just disgraceful. But my point is that the world is very aware of it, as you can see. This right here is a freaky out thing, and I read these things around the world in their news, but this was something I just thought I had to share. This is Iran's leading international daily, and they had a major story in November 21st, 2020, that the U.S. is on the brink of civil war, and it was their study from their observations of what they know causes civil war, so you get an outside perspective of that. They're seeing it, and I do 100% believe it's coming. It's just a matter of time. And, it's not going to be like 1861 because it's not at that point like it was there. It's just a matter of us, the people, taking a position of power against that of a corrupt, treasonous government that needs to be removed. And we need to restructure our government into that of what was intended by our founders and more in line to that of our Constitution. And clearly, we have to do something as far as restructuring the order and establishment of our government in a way that this can never get this out of control again. Clearly, we still have some work to do, and we've been lazy in not doing it, and we've been very lazy in responding to the ongoing corruption and the growth of it and the overreach of powers and authority that got us where we are this very day. But I can tell you right now, we are at the line of either we do something now to save our nation, or we go to our knees and accept that we surrender our nation. Because I can tell you right now, world totalitarian regimes and dictators are looking at us as an asset. There's a chatter going on around the world. And right now, what the Democrats are doing are just making it worse. They see Joe Biden's weakness. They see the weakness in this government. They realize this government is nothing but you could buy and sell this government out. Because the Democrats, and complicitness with the government of the Republicans, have been selling off government seats to foreign totalitarian interests. And the world's been watching them do this. They've been watching them. And it's to the totalitarian Islamic Muslims who have been moving into our local state government, taking over our departments of education, and indoctrinating our posterity. Who do you think's behind all this cause? When you see these Antifa rallies and you see these Antifa riots and protests, look in the backdrop. You'll see who's right there pushing and instigating the whole thing. Islamic Muslims. Okay? These things are being done intentionally. This is not something that's just off the cuff that's happening. And the kids and the posterity, that's a disgraceful thing. They're using our own American posterity. These are American kids in the Antifa and the Black Lives Matter that have been dumbed down, deprived of proper education, and deprived the truth of knowledge of our true history. These kids have been indoctrinated with lies, fallacies, and made themselves out to be feeling like victims. And now they're in this victimhood mentality of ghetto, depression, poor woe's me kind of thing. And then it's just an anger, frustration behind the rest of them who are ignorant to the truth and can't see through the reality of what's being done to incite these things by the Democrats. But this is the situation we're facing, people. But I just want to touch on these things here and say to Joe Scarborough, you're a piece of shit, Joe. You really are. You know that? And look at you, you smug-faced, no good, ignorant piece of shit. That's what you are. I don't like you. I never did like you because, I remember when you used to be a Republican and then you were a lawyer and and when you look at you all throughout your life, you're nothing but a suck-up. That's what you are. You're a self-serving, suck-up piece of shit, Joe. That's all you are. And that's all you still are right now is you're kissing ass up to the Democrats because they're in control of everything. And you're just trying to secure your own place and position with it. Good treats in the scumbag. Worthless piece of shit. You're not even an American. You're the shit stain of what a shit stain American is. That's what you are, Joe Scarborough. You're a shit stain. Disgusting, disgraceful piece of shit. But with that said, I hope everybody likes this video. Anybody wants to comment it below. Sorry for the foul language. These people have me very upset. It's at a point where we, the American people, really, I'm just waiting. How much longer are we going to let this go on? How many more lives are we going to allow to be affected by this idiocy? How many more of our posterity are we going to allow to be lost to this corrupt, treasonous, no good? Look what the hell is going on in this country. It's about time we do something, people. We, the people, got to do something. Because I'm going to tell you what, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And anybody, you want to sit silent majority, well, you can sit silent majority. But I'm going to tell you what, you keep sitting silent majority, you're going to find your ass out in the front of your house getting your head cut off. Okay? Because silent ain't going to do it. Okay? We want our country, we want our freedom, our liberty. Let me tell you something, it was never given to us. We had to take it. We had to hold it. We had to maintain it. We had to fight for it. And we had to secure it. And right now, it's no damn different. The same totalitarian, evil, disgusting, dictatorial world of no good, evil, disgusting people still exist around us outside our borders. And we are still a target. And right now, those enemies are inside our own country, invited in and giving a seat by that of the Democrats with the complicit Republicans of a disgraceful, no good body of government, of which we have to be careful because there are a lot of Margery Greens out there right now. And we can not mistake the good for the bad. But boy, I'll tell you what, when the shit hits the fan, the bad needs to be held accountable and made an example of greatly to make sure this never happens again. With that, thanks to all who watched my video. God bless America. God bless always every true American. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is watching over us. Remember, faith is done by actions. God is waiting for us to take action. When we take action that secures our faith, God will back us 100% and bless this nation as God always has for the last 244 years. So God bless every true American. God bless America. And God bless those of the true patriot Americans in our government, like Margery Greene and those who are like her. We owe a lot to those people who are in the front line right now, because that little girl, she's trying so hard and she's getting so little help from anybody. It's just a shame. But you know what? She's a little fighter. She's not giving up. But with that said, like I said, thanks to all for watching my video, and I'll see you on the next video. Next video coming will be from 1900s forward. We'll be getting into the time with Woodrow Wilson, and we'll also get to know a lot more about the Democrats and their evil intent and their plans with this nation. And also in the 1900s, is starting in the next history video, is where we start to see how we got to where we are today by allowing the Democrats to twist, confound, and lie about our history. And also, as we move forward, we'll also see the complicity, how in the 1960s they manipulated the media laws through Democratic administrations to be able to allow the media to get away with what they're doing this very day, too. It's just disgraceful. But with that said, thank you all for watching my video, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day.